From the studios of KENW on the campus of Eastern New Mexico University, it's You Should Know, featuring the people and events of Eastern New Mexico and West Texas.
With me now is Sanjib Saokota, and we have the privilege of having him here. He is from Nepal. He is a student at Eastern New Mexico University, and we're going to talk about how he got here and the kinds of things he does as a student here, and what he's going to take back to Nepal with him when he gets his degree. And Sanjib,
Yes.
what inspired you to want to come to the United States and be a part of this education system in the first place?
Yeah, as you know, sir, like the US, the degree obtained from US universities are highly recognized all over the world. Why? Because of its education system, like a sufficient research facility and the infrastructure also. And beside from this, like as a son of farmer, my interest toward agriculture increased since childhood. That's why I chose my bachelor's degree major as an agriculture, and after completion of agriculture, I started to work as an instructor in Nepal for almost 1 year. So the combination of my background, agriculture background, which is similar to biology, and my work experience, at that time I realized, like I had a chance to know some of the farmers' problem very closely. So that inspired me to continue, like my higher education, the master degree in the biological science with research focus on the agriculture, like a plant science.
Okay. All right. So you have been studying agricultural.
Yes.
Yes. And now working on your master's, what are the main types of classes you take?
So my major is biology, and I took like a molecular biology, biotechnology, evolution, research presentation, like this kind of courses. Although I am taking these courses, my research as a graduate student, we have to do the research. So my research is focused on the plant science. So currently working on the fruit crop jujube, which is a Chinese date and new to the United States and this New Mexico also. So the New Mexico Department of Agriculture has identified this fruit crop as an alternative crop to this region, because this can tolerate the drought and like the drought and the frost. So I am working on this plant. My research area, like the topic is like to study the effect of stem height and diameter on the survival rate of jujube sucker in the New Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Now, the United States is a very large country, lots of people, and I would imagine that when you first looked into coming, you noticed that we had the 325 million people, all of this kind of thing. But Portales is a very small city in a rural area. Were you surprised when you got here by anything about the city?
Yes, sir. Yes. Like when I was in Nepal, like I thought like the most of the cities of the United States are like New York, Chicago, like huge. But when I got here, I realized like the Portales is tiny, like a small town, and that surprised me. Like, but I realized this Portales is good for the student because the environment over here is quiet and silent, so that student can focus on education, like our study. That's our main purpose and goal. That really inspire us to concentrate on our education. Apart from this, like the cost of living is very low, like in Portales as compared to other big city. Because I went to Los Angeles, like a Phoenix last month, and I realized that they're so expensive, those cities are. So as a student, as an international student, we have some financial problem also, as you know that. So I think this cost of living and the people over here are very friendly. So these are the three main factors that like really I am happy because I choose Eastern and this Portales to pursue my higher education.
Okay, good. So you were looking at American institutions of higher education, and in what way did you discover Eastern? We always think, wow, they've got all those big colleges back east and the ones on the West Coast. How did you come to discover this particular school?
Yeah, honestly, like I contacted one of the previous graduate student of this Eastern, the Krishna Katwal. Now he is doing his doctorate degree in the University of Georgia. So I already told you that like my dream to come to the United States to pursue higher education. So when I contacted him, he told me that like this scenario, like the environment over here is good, like the people here are friendly, even the cost of living is adjustable, affordable. So I decided like, and he told me like you can search some faculty in the biology department similar to the research interest that I have. So I searched the faculty and I emailed them, like my supervisor, Dr. Zhiminglu, and he accepted me as a prospective student. And finally, I applied to the department and they got approved. And now I am here in that way.
All right, very good. Well, let's talk about the culture and what you're going to be able to do with the biological knowledge you're gaining in plants, this kind of thing, to help your people. I understand that in 2015 there was a very large earthquake
Yes.
in your country.
Yes.
Is that still causing problems for agriculture? It did cause many problems for agriculture at one time.
Exactly.
Is it still causing trouble?
Yeah, exactly. People are, still the farming land are not, like a productive, because people are engaging to build their house and, and so many stuffs going on. So like after getting this degree from here, I will return back to my country and do, as I told you, my research is related to plant science. So I will gain the high skill and knowledge on the biological science. So when I return back home, I will spread this knowledge to the farmers so that we can grow crop in small area also, like like in greenhouse we can build a greenhouse or something like that, so that we can grow more food to feed those population, like those suffering people, like still they are suffering from those earthquake.
Okay. Well, I think maybe a lot of people, if they know about Nepal, they usually think of it as, after all, you come from the country that has Mount Everest.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And several other very tall mountains.
Yeah.
But there are some plains there and places for farming, and the foothills are very important for farming, aren't they?
Yes, sir, sure. Because like although we have like a mountain, we have like a different altitude from like 50 meter to 8,848 meters. So like we have lots of plain area, and people used to cultivate, like do the farming in that area, in the plain and hilly region, not in the mountain region. Just in the mountain region, there is a mountain and people just grow some like fruit that can adapt that the cold environment, like walnut and apple, those kind of fruit. Beside that, we cannot grow like other crop in the higher altitude. So we have to depend on those plain area, like we call in our language we call Tarai region. We have to depend on those land for the food.
Okay, very good. What sorts of animals in agriculture do they have over there? Are there dairy cows?
Yeah, in Nepal, like it interesting. Like in the Nepalese farmer, they used to keep the buffalo,
Yes.
rather than cow. So like the cow and the buffalo, like most of the animals, like the dairy animals are buffalo is compared to cow, and beside those they used to keep like a chicken and goat for the meat purpose, even like some pork, like that.
Okay. Well, you're in an area right now where families were very important 50, 100 years ago, and the families depended on their animals for their food, and then the extras like the cream and the butter that they could make from the dairy cows and the eggs from the chickens could be sold for cash. Is that kind of how that works with your people? Are your people families that live together and work on the farms?
Yes, exactly, in the similar way, you know.
Okay, great. Well, we certainly can identify with that as Americans.
Yeah.
That was us. Let's talk about other parts of your culture. You're wearing a hat. Can you tell me about the hat? What does the hat mean?
Yeah, this is like a cultural dress. We call this as a Dhaka topi. In our language, we call it as a Dhaka topi. So we used to wear this hat in like a festival, you know, like a cultural occasion. Like we have like a different festival over there. Even in the marriage ceremony, like the man used to wear this kind of hat. So they have like a different clothes and like so many culture tradition. Yeah.
Very good. And your country is right in between two of the largest countries in the world.
Exactly.
China and India.
Yes, sir.
India has a huge population, so does China. China is a big place too,
Yeah.
as well. How do you feel about that? Do you have well, I won't make you name a favorite, but what sort of relations does Nepal have with the Chinese? Do you get along with the Chinese?
Honestly, not like, because like with India we have like an open border, so we Nepalese people can go like back and forth from India to Nepal. But for China, like if I want to go China, I have to like go to the embassy and take a visa. So that's like a tedious process. So honestly, like I can say we have little bit close relation to India rather than the China, because our language is similar, not exactly similar, or kind of similar to Indian language, Hindi, Indian language called Hindi. So because of this language and open border, like we have like more close relation to India rather than like a China, although they are like equal in between, like this Nepal is in between these two countries.
Oh, very good. I know that, and we'll go back to farming here. I know that you raise rice, wheat, and maize. What is your most important crop in Nepal?
In Nepal, like we have like a different food habit also. Like we Nepalese people, like we used to eat rice as a lunch, rice as a dinner also. Like sometimes we use like a bread, bread as a like a dinner. That's why like the rice and wheat are the major staple food crop in the Nepal.
Okay. Have you had a chance to? We have some pretty big wheat fields here. Kansas is a much bigger wheat state than we are, but we have some pretty good wheat harvests here. Have you had a chance to go out and see some of the big wheat fields in this area at all?
Not yet, sir. Like I just went to the Clovis Agriculture Research Station. Like beside that, I didn't have like chance to visit those like a wheat place, agricultural farm. If I get a chance, I am happy to visit those agricultural farm over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think you might want to work at a agricultural research station like the one in Clovis and help your people come up, make their crops better and grow better?
Exactly. That's my the research, like my career goal. I want to become the research scientist and do research on this plant and help the farmer identify the farmer's problem and solve some of them like their problems in future. Maybe in future I can.
Very good, very good. Well, we'll come back to Eastern now. And have you had a chance to attend what we in America call football games? Have you been to a Greyhound football game?
Yes, sir. Like honestly, like when like my friend told me like let's go to watch the football like the first time, and I said okay, and we went to the stadium, and like I got surprised, like what's going on here? Like you told me football, and this is the football, and you told me like the American football is different from like what we assume as a football. Like that's a soccer. In our country, we like football is a soccer.
Yes.
And at that time, like I just watched because I didn't know any rules till now. Also, I didn't know like most of the rules. But besides that, after that, I got habituated on this football, and like I watched few matches such as the Greyhound versus Colorado Mesa, and I think I watched the last match also, the Greyhound ENMU Greyhound versus the Western Oregon. So now I started to enjoy, but although I don't know like most of the rules.
Yeah, our football is a lot like rugby, which is popular way south of you in Australia, but it's different completely than anything in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know it must be because you said you call soccer football,
Yeah.
and it's certainly different than soccer. But we have a good soccer team too, by the way. You need to get to see all of those different sports. Have you had a chance to see some of our cultural things, like the concerts and plays that our fine arts department puts on?
Yes, like in my opinion, like we student as a student, we have to balance like the study, work, and the entertainment. Like these are the main component in our life. So those concert and art are the important component of the entertainment. So I used to like visit those art, and like sometimes I went to the concert so that I can refresh, I can relieve the stress from the education, like study, because it's too pressure, like it's a
Very
student.
good. I noticed on your hat it has an intricate pattern. What sorts of art do you have in your country, in Nepal?
We have like the different art, like I think I don't know how can I describe, but like people used to do like the art over here also, like similar art, but like they try to correlate that art to the cultural and traditional like the system in the Nepal. So try to like create the temple or like that kind of stuff. Try to relate their festival and culture, tradition.
Yeah. I will say this, the world developed in history with two main areas of high culture. One was centered in China and in your area. One was centered in Europe, in our area, and the two are quite a bit different. I love both of them. I like to see what people are doing with their hands, and also I like to hear them sing and perform. Have you noticed that we're a lot different over here than your people?
Yeah, like honestly, I don't have like that much idea about the art and like those stuff, but I feel like that's a different, totally different from like what we have back home and what like we have here.
Okay. What important thing that you learned while you've been here are you going to take back and share with your people?
So like here we have like a different education system. Like back home, the total education system is different. So like the research, the way of doing research, and like the way of delivering like the course material to the student is totally different. Currently I am a teaching assistant in the biology department also, so I think like I will bring like few important things from here to back home, like the teaching style and the teaching like the material, how can we prepare the good material so that the student will learn better, and after that how can we do the research in our like interest. So practical skill and experience, I will bring those to the Nepal. I think that will help a lot to solve like those problems.
Okay, very good. Besides education, is there something else about America that surprised you that you'll want to share with your people when you get back?
Yeah, like honestly, like we have to, we Nepalese people like just spend time in drinking tea and like chatting with each other. We don't have like we do not like plan, like schedule the time here. The most important thing is time value, the value of time over here. Like every people are busy in their like the work or study, but back home like I can say like most of the people just stay like they don't have like they don't care about the time. So that's the most important like like stuff that I learned from the US, and I will share this experience back home.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So you spend time maybe drinking tea and talking with your relatives?
Yeah, exactly, like just talking like political stuffs, like just like the family stuffs, and just spend the time like so.
Yeah. I have to say, as an older person,
Yes, sir.
I am very surprised whenever I walk into a room and there are 5 people and they're not talking to each other, they're looking at their cell phones.
Yes.
And I catch myself every once in a while in a crowd looking at a cell phone. There are 40 people to talk to, and I'm over here in the corner reading something on Google.
Yes.
It's been quite a surprise for me. Do you have some things lined up in your country when you get back? Have you made some contacts yet with your people to maybe think about what kind of job you're going to get?
Oh, not yet, but like previously I made mention that like I work as an instructor for 1 year, so I may continue that job, like the teaching job, and beside that, like I will do some research so that I can, like figure out the problems, farmers' problem, and can solve few of them. So I will. I think at the end of this semester, like now I am in 3rd semester, so at the end of my graduation, I will contact those people like where I work, and maybe some other places also, so that it's easy for me to get job.
Okay, very good. How did you find the difference in contact in education with your teachers? Is it about the same as it is here? Here we encourage our students to get an office appointment and sit down with an instructor and talk to them if they have problems. Is that kind of the way you do it in your country?
No, like honestly, like they like it's difficult to meet like the professor in our country. Here, like if we write an email and make an appointment, it's easy to meet with professor and they are happy to help us. But back home, like it's it's little bit challenging to meet the professor and teacher.
Okay. Well, that's it. Good. Let's we'll get back to this cultural thing. Is there something small that you're going to want to take back with you to show people that'll help them understand Americans a little better when you get back there? Is there anything you'd like to take with you to show them, or?
You mean like a cultural stuff?
Yeah,
like
yeah, like-
something.
Yeah.
So I think I will take the picture, like the picture, like for example, like a Thanksgiving. Last time I celebrated American Thanksgiving, and like already last year I celebrated the Christmas, and this time also I will celebrate. So I will take bunches of picture, and I can like a photo, and I can show them like how the Americans like celebrated their festivals, and like how they like manage their culture, or like that kind of stuff.
Very good. You recently went to a Thanksgiving dinner, and did you have turkey?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and I don't know like why the turkey is so special in the Thanksgiving, but like everywhere, Thanksgiving and turkey are like they have, I don't know what connection, but
Yeah, it's very, very symbolic.
yeah.
What do you think about all the shopping and the excitement that goes on at Christmas time in America?
Yeah,
Is
it's-
that unusual for you?
Yeah, it's too crazy. Like everybody like seems like happy to spend their holiday and like shopping, celebrating. Like yeah, so I surprised last year.
So they're very good.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to travel much in New Mexico?
Yes, sir. I went to the Reduso, and which is pretty similar to Nepal. Like
Ruidoso.
yeah, Reduso, like the mountain area. And beside that, I went to the Albuquerque in Santa Fe. Like most of the part, Las Cruces and the New Mexico State University. So I visited like most of the part of the New Mexico.
Now that we're almost out of time, but how do you like the Mexican food that we have here? Have you tried the enchiladas and the?
Yeah, yes, like I like the Mexican food because they are similar to Nepalese, you know, like they use a lot of spices, and we Nepalese people also use spices. So I use, you know, like I like those food, like Mexican food.
So it worked great for you.
Yes.
Well, I want to wish you the very best of luck.
Okay,
and
thank you so much.
for coming here to Eastern New Mexico University. And I hope that you'll go tell people there are a bunch of farmers that live way out in the plains out there.
Yes, sure.
We're not really all farmers. And there are very few of us that are farmers anymore, but our history is agriculture, and I think you've picked a very good subject for your country, and I hope we hear about you being one of the officials who's teaching people how to take care of their wheat crops. And
Okay,
their
thank you
corn
so
and-
much, sir.
and-
Thank you so
and those sorts of things. And thank you for coming by and talking with me.
Yeah, thank you for like giving time to share my, you know, like education research in back home, like Nepal, about Nepal. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you for watching.